Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the NEBVEMBER tournament. We are watching Collapse The Electron square off against Maintenance Is A Birch. This is their third in the best of 3 for, I believe this was match 5 of the tournament here, squaring off in the winner's bracket.
The Swiss cheese method of tournament bracket means that some of these matches will be a bit out of order. Don't worry, it'll work out in the end.
Yep. Anyways, we are your casting hosts, Nekoboy Blue, and I am joined by...
Escape GT. Hello, everyone.
All right, so reading off the teams here, Collapse the Electron currently consists of Trojan Shadow, Ambient Lamp, Surazal, and Pazuzu.
Team 2 is Maintenance Is A Birch, taking the OSP side here. We have Misk, Vren, Pyrope, and Secret Mink.
All right, so some of you might have seen Gold Rush as the starter of these games before. We are into the second rounds of the tournament, so now we started on Blood Moon, and Gold Rush was chosen as the third map after these teams squared off in their first 2 games. Taking a look at ANS side, I'm seeing a battleship pair deploying towards the top. We've seen this work very well before holding ground.
That's CTE 11. Correct me if I'm wrong with this. Might be the same starting tech they did in their previous match against, who was it? It was 5 Girls, 1 Grungler. Worked really well for them. We will see if they're able to repeat that success.
Seeing a Levy deployed in the middle there. Levy typically deployed a bit more towards the right side. We see it now shuffling around, trying to find that spot. Same time, though, predictable location leads you open to fishing with missiles.
Single Levy makes me think ASF protection here. We'll see if that's actually true. Taking a look
healthy hull count, looking at all these Corvettes and beam destroyers, might be a Levy half cap.
Could be a Levy half cap. It could be Levy plus a bunch of beamstones supporting a dedicated cap fleet. I've seen that type of fleet comp before. All in all, 2 battleships, Levy, a bunch of beamstones here. I think I understand ANS's strat here. On the Protectorate side here, I'm seeing
a couple liners. The Pyrope liner, the Queen Pomegranate with its escorts. I believe those are Grazer shuttles.
Queen
Additionally,
Pomegranate is the 450 with Mass Driver one, I believe.
It might be. There's another liner accompanying that. We'll see what that ends up being. 2 of them up top. Could
also
be
a Monitor Ball. It looks like Birch
I want to say that is the variant
here
of the starter. I believe that's Garnet Squadron, so we're going to do the drop. You want ANS or OSP for the quick reads?
You took ANS last time, I believe, correct?
All right.
So I'll take them.
You want to tell me what these battleships are that we see on the drop then?
Yep. Well, we're going to instantly know if this is the same strat that this team used in the previous round. Based on the battleship builds, we shall see. All right, starting out, Ambient Lamp with the cap fleet here. It is the quad beamstone cap fleet. 1, 2, 3, 4 beamstones spread across the map here. Accompanying that is, looks like 2 cringe cappers and 4 gun vets. Removing the defender from the gun vets for the points that they need. Pazuzu up top with the battleship here. This one has a VLS 200 backpack. Lots of SDMs in there, some killjoys as well, and active decoys. Supporting the BB is a beam destroyer as well. Looks like that one's heading towards C. Surazal. Yep, this is the same tactic that, or at least the same BB tactic that Collapse the Electron used in the first round here, as Surazal brings in the double beamstone plus battleship tactic here, giving them some nice beamstone cover on the flank, as well as having a battleship up top. And Trojan Shadow, ooh, this is not just ASF, this is Trojan Shadow's carrier half-cap fleet here. Very, very
10 bombers in that already.
Yep, this is a very, very powerful fleet that Trojan has played a lot. We will see how good it is in this game here. All right.
Ooh, gonna say a little bit of tech here on the bombers. Just took a look. A blade of foam on these. This means that they will not be one-shot by the very popular SDM2. So you might see those get some very good piercing through enemy defenses. OSP side, I'm going to read off now, starting with Miscellaneous up top. 450 broadside liner, the Rose Garden here. This thing, it looks built up double drive style. Very nice here. All right. You can see these deployed up top. Yep, pair of them. Pretty standard stuff. They've got a very wide fleet. Bloodhound Tug makes sense. Already has a lock on one of the battleships over there. That's going to be the Wharf Jumpy from Pazuzu. We see they're supported by T-20 and mine launchers on 2 of these shuttles. 2 other ones just purely naked, going as cheap as possible. Not even investing in the magazine on these. Interesting stuff there. Probably last second tech. These are
free. Not sure why we're not investing in that, but okay.
Yeah, this is Should know how to build these. That's a minor misplay on their part. The Queen Pomegranate liner from Pyrup comes out. Yep, we were correct. This is the Mass Driver 450 barrel liner. It's a bit quirky, but it can do some work, as basically no one expects that.
Missile backpack
Supporting it is going
as
to be Grazer
well.
shuttles.
Yep, missile backpack as well fires mixed salvos between S2s and containers with submunitions. A very, very interesting tactic from Pyrup, but it is
I remember
very
this is a
volatile.
weird. Yeah.
It is
Triple plant control center. Lastly, supporting this is going to be the CIA monitor here. The Madame Lychee has an intel center, has a hangar for, I believe it's a skiff currently. Got that Bloodhound with track correlators.
Internal radar advance gives some nice offset tracks for the liner.
Yep. So battleships immediately detected here, gonna tell them what is on the board. Secret Mink comes in with the support fleet again. They've got their light carrier, the Journeyman here. This has some strike fighters, the Arbiters coming out. They've got a couple of radar and Winard skiffs here for scout area detection and such. Supporting this is going to be a pair of monitors. These just here to keep Sprinter Ball kind of thing honest. C90s, T30s, and other stuff to win the cap war. These deployed in a pair, going to secure east side. Kind of like a liner across two hulls with more armor. Rounding out their fleet is going to be two Ruddles, one under the map, one going towards seaside, trying to dislodge a beam destroyer.
Yeah, one of them's already flanking that beamstone there. We'll see if that is able to get purchase.
Finally, on Garnet Squadron, or whatever variant of it they have, is going to be Vren coming with the starter fleet push. Starters are good, folks. We see this monitor ball is primarily a checkbox in these comps to see if they can keep a, not shuttle ball, a sprinter ball from getting too much victory. Little bit of early game aggression on the A point here. Ruddles will boop the snoot of one of these cappers, but does not actually get a kill on it.
Bolt Squadron attempting to get kills, commits onto both of them and is unable to kill either, as two cringe cappers are now on A with no other ability to dislodge those. It looks like ANS is going to take A here
one
early.
Of these
Bolt
completely
Squadron
no
now
damage control teams, so that's surprising.
One of them is rushing down Dropkick Squadron right now, although Trojan has a gun capper in the area to stop that from happening, as A point goes to ANS here.
Yep. Stinger Flight might catch Bolt here. They do have coil gun locked and loaded coming around the corner. This could be aggressive for them. Let's see if they get the flick or not. Now they're tasked on target. Should see them pop the shot any second.
The Ruddle is caught out here.
Or not.
The Ruddle caught out here as Bullfrog Squadron does manage to find it with torpedoes. The Ruddle does send a strike out on Trojan's gun capper there, although... the torpedoes almost
Torps
missed
will catch it there. Gun capper survives. Yep. Good swing there. Trojan Shadow just playing the half cap style here. They're aware of the capper assets, but also using their light strike ability there to see off small threats.
The
Stinger
bombers,
Flight, almost completely out of ammo, does clean up the fighters there on the front line.
The bombers that Trojan brings in that half-cap fleet are a very, very excellent tool. Just hanging around cap points, can both pull double duty in denying the point and also destroying those flanking Ruddles that OSB likes to bring.
Taking a look at the battleship here, Mass Driver doing some work. CR-75 Chan has already been removed from the top of the battleship here as Triple Liner flanks across the top of Gold Rush, going for a very unusual maneuver here. This allows Vren to move up pretty much uncontested, and while detected by the A-point cappers, they're going to clean that up really well and gain some ground here.
Right. There is a Ruddle under the map on A, although no gun cappers are really in position to take A if it's opened up. That being said, Ambient does have a beamstone overlooking A right now, which will likely get the deny if OSP commits.
Multiple beamstones there. Ambient has one, Servizal another. Actually, Ambient, two beamstones in position already. Multiple others could rotate over as they please.
Some nice redundancy that ANS has brought in terms of their A-cap denial, as if one of them goes down, they still have a secondary one, potentially leading the Protectorate into a false sense of security if they do manage to get the kill on one.
Yeah.
Both sides now
the pirate tech here kind of paying off in a weird way. This spyglass is quad track correlator. I believe the Mass Driver has enough damage to actually break the track correlators, provided it gets a hit. So
it should.
This weird 450 flank might pay off here as the battleships are forced to rotate their noses, potentially opening up for Vren to aggress on them.
Battleships are now pulling back here. If Maintenance Is A Birch isn't careful here, they might go the way of Electron last game, where they have their front line completely in orbit out of position. Although they do have Varin on the front lines here, with the monitors pushed up to a really aggressive point there. Meanwhile,
Vren's rotated their nose gun over and is thinking about getting the battleships, but taking a look at this, ANS has just pulled back to their side of the map. OSP has drawn their front line kind of across this like A marker line, gaining more ground. if they start their dive towards A point with a shuttle or such and provide enough Overwatch fire, they can probably take out these Overwatching destroyers, as their guard angles are not the greatest with how Vren's positioned themselves.
Possibly. We'll see if OSP capitalizes on that right now.
All right. Ambient Lamp attempts a rush here over onto the E side. We're going to see their capper gets found by this monitor pair from Secret Mink. Mink just going to clean that thing
tries
up
to pull
handily.
back. Yep, that's a nice that's a nice grab for OSP. Depriving ANS of their light assets is always an advantageous spot to be in. As that thing, it turns on the afterburners and tries to flank out of there. A lot of hits into the drive there. Yep, and there goes the knockout on the drive.
Snipe going down.
Once again, a sprinter moment as nothing but that drive is disabled. Meanwhile,
large thruster moment.
Ambient Lamp.
All right, Vren gets some plasma out now. Surzal caught as they rotate the nose correctly to face this incoming liner push. That's what you want to do with battleships, tank it on the nose all day. But at the same time, I think the battleships are maybe playing a little timid here, not engaging with any long-range fire.
Well,
they do have quad-track spyglass,
they don't
but
necessarily need to. They hold the advantage. They don't need to sacrifice survivability on their front line right now. You can see here, though, ANS is taking precautions against this monitor ball. Most of the beamstones that are on this center rock and on ANS's side are already repositioning to try and maybe deny a monitor push here. Surazal moves CTE-23 into position, as well as cross gem from Ambient Lamp here.
AP rounds being fired off here, unless I'm mistaken. Potentially trying to go for a punch-out on some components. That's an interesting choice.
Overpitting. One of the drives does go down here. Beams out from Pazuzu, firing at who knows what. There's nothing there. Could have been a fighter squadron, maybe?
Void Fairies, potential. If I had to guess, maybe they did a fire or on position order and then set it to hold. I've done that trick before. Yeah.
Huh.
All right.
Well, if OSP was looking at C, they now know where that beamstone is.
I think that this is an interesting situation to find right now, because currently both battleships have taken to ground a little bit. They've given range so that Vren is not within plasming distance of them. At the same time, though, these liners are slowly developing this left side of the map. We're going to see a couple missiles fire off here as Highball Squadron gets engaged. We're going to see Photon Flight trying some long-range SDM-2.
Snipe one of them. Two of them looks like they're seduced by chaff as Highball gets out of there with only one loss. That was all of the SDM-200s in Photon, I believe, as they, looks like they're RTBing. No, they're not RTBing. They're flanking back to the battleships. That might have been the battleship's air cover trying to do a little bit of aggressive push there, or it could just be sitting.
Essentially, one battleship does not have backpack, for what it's worth. So there are more SDM-2s coming out now in Photon.
They're CMD SDM-200s flying into the range of the battleship's comms jammer. The other ones, though, are at Wake, which do manage to snag. I bet that was the ASF for the beamstones there, preventing flank from Ruddles.
Could have been.
And rocket strikes. Fury now.
Combat indicator bugs out a little bit, but we're going to see this airball. Very interesting air war as both sides commit to a bit of standoff play there. Neither one wants to commit, knowing that there is a lot at stake here. Whoever gets the advantage in the skies is then able to remove a lot of these lighter assets later on.
Pazuzu pushes up with their battleship here as Surazal pulls back. The monitors
Plasma
and
actually
the
catching Pazuzu.
C point being taken by OSP. C point being taken by OSP as their ship manages to find that little area, that little cavity there.
Oh no, there's the fire on position from Pazuzu as they let loose that they have not given the updated order, as they do not see miscellaneous at this moment. There's a little spot here we've seen before that can hide a shuttle.
No track on OSP's capper here, as it excellently hides in the little gap here, deploying
mines.
Uh-oh. That's going to
be quite dangerous.
This could potentially be big for OSP here. If they're able to take the point, they are pretty well developed to hold. Although Vren is pushing in the monitors.
Vren gets a good jump here on Pazuzu, who is experiencing the better part of frontline fire. Track correlator starting to go down means that they won't be able to effectively engage these liners coming over.
Not at long range.
Committing to it, sending that rain.
Vren has to be careful here. There are multiple beamstones along this rock that would love to poke out and just beam these monitors. You can see it looks like CTE-23 has its thrusters on, is probably repositioning to do just that. Meanwhile, over the top, Misk and Pyro.
Bomber run coming towards them. Firestorm from Shojin Shadow sees Vren over here, thinks they might have an opportunity. Fighter support is nowhere to be seen.
These are CMD Hodge. I believe this monitor ball should have a comms jammer on them. Yes, comms jammer active from the monitors. We will see
Warbler
if
up.
This
Let's
is
see if the Hodge
enough.
goes through or not.
The Hodge No, the comms jammer's not firing anymore.
Comms jammer. Oh, probably a fire order issue there. I've done this before. We hit Warbler and then issue MCon.
Yeah, the torpedoes split between the monitors here, degrading all of them. That is not good for Vren there, as they are suddenly in a world of hurt. Although, that being said...
Beam as well going to open up. Vren just getting removed from the game all of a sudden as ANS punishes this open sky push.
The monitor ball... Fascinating monitor ball push here into ANS here as, all the beamstones push out here. Not sure what Vrem was thinking of doing there. They should have known that ANS had a position, as that is
They had an idea, but
that is
did not...
Yeah, that is OSP's most developed frontline fleet just going to get annihilated here in a very unfortunate
3 beamstones quickly punishing this aggression. This is why you do not want to rush.
Do not end like that, especially if you have cap advantage. They could have just held back behind that rock there. Although, that being said, OSP is now stepping onto A.
OSP gets the cap
beams
here.
Are going to be busy dealing with the monitors.
This is a little questionable from Vren's perspective, as this push here was unnecessary. They had the cap asset to move on to 8 point. The monitors could have held back, waited for these beamstones to present through the little A hole here, and then shot the shit out of them with their 100 mil guns. Instead, they int forwards, getting punished by battleship, beams, and torpedoes.
Meanwhile,
that's going to put
OSP
point, down 3K.
ANS commits 2 cappers onto the C point. One of them gets annihilated by the mines, but the other one successfully steps onto the point. It's going to step onto the point. It is completely undetected in doing so, although...
Pyrope sends secondary missiles towards the destroyer. Oh, no.
Yeah, but it looks like they're going to rock BD, unfortunately, here, as Pyrope mistimes the strike. These are CMD direct. Should not have the maneuverability to dodge them. No, they don't. A point will
Where's the Pyrope liner? Should still have more of those to potentially see off that capper.
A point's going to go into the hands of OSP here, although they will lose C in the process here. And
triple beam on that
the beams do
singular
pop up
monitor.
To deal with the monitors,
boom.
although they are being engaged now by the front line as they are all now detected. Meanwhile, Trojan and Ambient both send cappers back onto A to retake the point. We had a massive trade of several ships here from both sides, flipping a couple points in really rapid succession there. Trojan now under fire on C. The Beamstone is still alive on the point. Will likely get beams out on Misk, who is pushing low to probably try and get some gunfire support. Missiles are not going to arrive in time as ANS retakes the C point here. The Beamstone is down.
Size 2 is going to potentially impact here. That's going to cause a detonation of or fuel line fire, correction.
Beam now commits
listen, chat, they're
onto...
saying even added UI to stop that from happening. I'm assuming that's referring to the MCon and Warbler and such, but not certain on that. Hitman flight over towards the east side of the map is getting engaged by the monitors right now. Grape Shot trying to poke away at this. No, Rock PD. Ah, interesting. All right.
Huh.
Yeah, right.
Yep,
the point defense, you can set those to manual.
There's lead indicators now for missiles, too, which is the big thing there. Pyrope should have known that that was going to Rock PD.
Yes.
The capper, ANS's capper on C will likely reactor debt here.
ACAP going through his...
Yep,
ANS steps onto A with 2
Trojan
cappers, and there's nothing to punish them right now.
Without those monitors there's really nothing that OSP can do to deny that, although OSP is repositioning for a potential recap of C right now.
OSP is finding themselves in a bad spot right now. Like we saw in the previous game for OSP on Yukon, a lot of their frontline assets are currently high on the map, not really threatening a point right now. ACAP detonation goes through, which will not be quite in range, judging by the auras of this. They might scorch these a little bit. Let's take a look. Yep, strips the armor of the Corvettes, but that doesn't mean much.
Minor damage, not really going to be too big of a deal there. It looks like Butcher and Dragoon here over top from Trojan are hunting down the camper that initially took A. They do find it. They do have it detected. They're likely going to try and kill that so it doesn't enact a back cap once the cappers leave. SDM.
These bombers very low on fuel, but they do get the launch. Here's the decoy, and then the 2 torpedoes on target. CMD Hodge going to find this empty capper.
Fuel to hit. Yep, as Miss loses a potential back cap tool there to retake A. Meanwhile, Secret Make now dealing with one of the Axfords, trying to push into Eclipse here.
Battleships, on the left there.
Battleship is broadside, which means those Hesh will bite. One of the mag is already knocked out.
Hesh will bite, but 2 monitors
is probably not going to be enough to win that fight there. OSP
backup magazine on this is going to be enough for the moment.
Back into position here to start enacting some pushes onto points. C point, it looks like, is being developed here for OSP. Misk is standing by to
OSP
retake
needs
it
to
once
get
that
on this
beam zone
cap
goes down.
soon.
Yep. They did hold the cap advantage for a little bit, which does bring their points up a bit high, or higher than it normally would be if they weren't able to do that. But however, at the moment, nothing's stopping that BB from just taking E. C is going to be taken by OSP soon here, now that that beamstone is down. And it is up to Misk and Pyrope to now pivot their front line around and try to dislodge a lot of the ships that Alliance has guarding the caps that they have.
Other difficulty here is that these liners, while they are good against a lot of the softer ANS assets, for example, when they get beyond this kilometer range in a flank, they can easily destroy these destroyers. They don't really have much in the bank anymore to deal with these battleships once they get bow on. They need a crossfire from multiple ships to do that. And as we see here, the CTE-11 from Surzel, it's just enjoying itself, squaring off against these monitors. Neither of them really able to win this fight, and they're just going to bully their way onto
The
E
monitors,
point with
yep, the
pretty much nothing to
monitors
stop them.
do not have enough gunfire to stop this battleship from pushing onto the point. That is likely going to be an E-cap lost from from OSP here. OSP needs to start committing onto points here. Looks like they're starting to commit onto A here. Pyrope is sending one of their point defense escorts for their liner onto point, although you can see...
Pyrope does get a crossfire shot into Surazol from the very long range there. That's going to
add
pretty
up.
much max weapon range. 10 kilometers, yeah.
The shells are hitting. The battleship not maneuvering a lot means that a lot of those shells are going to bite. We will see if it's going to be enough. Beam attempt out to try and deny A, although Pyrope manages to go dark on the A point
Beam
here.
below the map will pick off one of Mink's rocket shuttles that was on approach there. Surazol spots that, I believe, thanks to Trojan Shadow with a sundial below the map.
Could have also been
show the power of his
Ambient.
awareness assets.
Could have also been... No, that doesn't have a radar in it. Ambient does have a cringe capper. Trojan has an actual capper in OSP's backline here. We'll see if that's going to be enough to retake
ANS has a lot of opportunities. Part of the... Okay, there's a minor CMD error on one of these ships. Pyrope has a Ithaca, I want to say, on this somewhere. Where's the... Where? Am I blind? Hold on a minute. My radar.
Sunder takes a kill against a fighter squadron there, although Cyclone immediately jumps on them. We will see...
Okay, I take it back. I forgot. It's a Pyrope liner. It does not have a radar on it. That explains why command missed. Okay.
Probably relying on allied ships to get locks then, or probably more accurately the Bloodhound monitor that they have.
Could be the Bloodhound or maybe a Bridgemaster on one of these.
Pyrope!
Razor shot. Oh, that's a tiny angle from Ambient Lamp. Catches the shuttle there on the A point.
Knocks out the drive, though, although it
second.
drifts back into cover. It is still on the A point if Pyro is able to kill that ship, which, yeah, she does, as A point is going to start being captured by OSP here. Trojan still has a functional gun capper in the area. It's not on the point. It's starting to fit it back onto the point now. It's undetected.
No. Trojan might walk into range of Pyrope here. Pyrope does have secondary T-20 batteries and a mass driver that they can light up this Corvette with. Yeah, Corvette, wrong angle here, puts drive towards enemy, is just going to get shot in a second. This thing is not detected, though, as there's a lack of radar coverage. Now it gets lit up briefly by, I want to say, the edge of the early warning. They don't see this gun capper.
They do know it's there, considering that they're no longer securing the point. OSP needs to deal with that thing quick if they want to take the point here, considering that the thing they have on the point contesting it is severely injured. There goes the detection there. Although
Mink getting struck right now. Torpedoes will find the journeyman and gut that thing.
As, yeah, that's going to be E going to ANS there.
All right.
Trojan now detected
ANS cleaning shop on the OSP side right now, as Mink's monitors are all but defanged. One of them going to detonate here in 30 seconds or so. Needs a scram if it was going to live.
They're also retaking C. Ambient Lamp committing one of their damaged beamstones onto the point here. This thing is not locked, which means that 450 at that range will likely miss a lot of the shots
450 AP as well was engaging the battleship.
Probably
does not have the correct ammo loaded.
By mistake, yeah, as C point is going to go back into the hands of ANS. A lot of...
Oops, audio, hang on a second. Audio skrunkle, one moment there. Sorry, folks.
At the end there. A point now being secured.
There we go.
As Pyrope does finally manage to combat... disable the capper on the point. No, it gets its weapons back on pretty much immediately after.
Yep. Size 2 strike coming out here against the battleship. The Wharf Jumpy has its comms jammer on.
These are the containers, though. Yeah, those have the containers in them, though.
Okay.
Ooh, OSP's capper on A goes down, which means that
Yep.
OSP no
There's the
longer
chaff
has
dump trying to
ships.
catch this. This is going to be a submunition bomb strike, I believe. We will see how this works. Oh, R2 is actually, for a bit of that, going to swing and a miss, unfortunately.
The BB, yep, it does have the maneuverability to evade there, as, yeah, those missiles are going to whiff. Meanwhile, on C, Ambient does actually get close enough to miss to get a beam into it for a brief moment there.
Oh.
Manages to knock out
Decap
the
was attempted and finds sprint mines instead. The ship is technically able to live, but oh no, damage control priority issue. They have a mag detonation or cell cook-off going on, and they're going for repairing the drive instead. This may kill this ship since it is structure broken.
Right. ANS
Anyways.
now with a 4 cap here. That's going to add up really quickly if the Protectorate team doesn't start getting on points really quickly here. It looks like Pazuzu is
More
going to
strike
start
towards
flanking
E
their
side.
battleship, just committing it onto the A point to hold it as long as possible. Meanwhile, E is pretty much a lost cause for OSP at this
OSP's
point.
last ships are getting cleaned up now.
Yep. OSP
All right, so taking a look at this, OSP,
ANS
yeah.
is just going to play the delaying game on the points, holding them for as long as possible while the Protectorate scrambles to try and get ships in position to retake here. The Beamstone, one of the Beamstones on C going down, the other one not combat capable, but OSP doesn't know that. They need to start pushing that point now if they want to cap it in time. Meanwhile, the BB
OSP's liners have been high in orbit this whole game,
Right.
and while they had potential, they just... They kind of
loss
did a misplay there with Vren committing too early. They needed more flank attack there, pull the battleships out of position, force the destroyers to rebase, then let the monitors kind of poke out, engage, and allow an 8-capper to step on the point.
The loss of Vren's monitors really early on is a really devastating loss for Protectorate here, as they just throw away an entire 3K fleet that would have been able to put a lot of pressure on A. A lot of those frivolous A-cap attempts that OSP attempted there late game probably would have gone through with the monitor support, but unfortunately, they just don't have the ships that they need to really retake ground right now.
Yeah.
Misk is way out of position with the liners, unable to really put any pressure on C. Those are Beamstones there. Misk is just not wanting to commit out of fear that those Beamstones are still active. Pyro's been pushed back as Surazal's battleship, now committing off of the E point, begins pushing through the middle here. Pazuzu's just going to dive onto A with their battleship and just to hold it as long as possible. Meanwhile, Ambient Lamp has already done the same with one of their
pretty
Beamstones.
beat up here.
It's
Track
still-
correlators are down. Front gun is inactive. It is out of restores, but still has 14 teams. This thing will survive long enough, especially with a 4-cap, to secure this game for ANS. What is ANS really afraid of on OSP at this point? There is
Nothing much.
3 liners, none of which will really get the
Maintenance-
crossfire they need to kill a battleship.
Maintenance Is A Birch, not learning from their enemy's mistake in the previous one, sends all of their frontline high orbit without any ability to contest points, as the enemy is just free to develop these flanks. You can see that the battleship from Surazal just has nothing stopping it from moving across the map there.
I think this is twice now in this series we've seen a monitor ball commit a little too hard into the ANS and get hell punished for it. We saw it on the game 1 with Blood Moon, where
Right.
I believe it was Star on, I want to say the same monitor ball, actually. This
It's
is
the same
Garnet.
monitor ball, different player. Maintenance As A Birch needs to learn how to not int their monitor balls when they don't need them to, considering that at the time that Vren lost their fleet, OSP had a pretty comfortable 3-cap and could have just held, even without holding A. You have to expect ANS to bring the massed Beamstones on this map, which is what they ended up doing, and that monitor ball just gave them all of the flanks they wanted.
Wharf Jumpy takes 450 fire now. Some more missiles coming out from Miscellaneous here. They've got a container coming off the back stack here. That said, though, I don't see this making enough of a difference. They need to remove at least one of these battleships and then clean house against all destroyers. Trojan Shadow's probably low on the munitions count. Yeah, very few of their bombers have torps still, but they're getting on target here.
Excellent battle impact. Ooh, they might deny C here, as that is
Decoy
just an early
launchers
warning ship.
paying dividends as those torps will find their way here. AMMs do not do anything against
And,
those. C-cap denial.
No other ships in the area for OSP to throw onto C to retake that. That's going to be GG. They needed a point, and they just lost their ability to do so. Pazuzu's going to go down likely on A in that battleship. Pyro getting a really nasty flank.
Actually might get hit by this container launch here. Bombs deployed, and
that's a bomb tainer,
no
yeah.
point defense.
No point defense up right now. Probably all disabled. Bombs are going to get eaten by the nose of that BB, though. Not really a whole lot of damage.
450 actually gets a good angle here. Hang
Pyro
on.
now
Pyro
re-pushing
potentially
in their
with the
liner,
strike.
although it OSP waited a very long time for this push here. It may be too late for them. We'll see if they are able to retake
The
points.
score is very high right now for ANS. 820 with a 4 cap is going to add up quickly.
In order to have any hope at winning this, OSP needs to retake like a 4 cap really quickly, and they just do not have the holes in position to do that. Even with this valiant push attempt from the liners now, getting really nasty hits into Pazuzu, I do not think that they have enough mass to really retake this one. Pazuzu is likely going to go down on A, but with only 1 cap regained right now, it's not really going to do all that much for them.
It's a good strike, but they do not have the ability for it right now. A cap starts up, puts their shuttle on point.
Gunslinger as well, sending into A. Ambient still has a beamstone guarding A as well. The beam is out of position, but it will be able to contest the point.
Hard to get a beam at this close angle. Maybe with the swing here. Uh-oh, Miscellaneous going the wrong way. That beam is getting very close. This might be a point-blank beam with a drift. Let's see it fire.
Oh, it just overshoots by the looks of it.
Just overshoots.
As
ANS does have back cap set up, ambient lamp with a naked capper towards the D point. It's a little ways off, about all that 8-9 kilometers, but could rush for it. Rockets. Oh, no, never mind. Torpedoes from Malice.
Torpedoes out. Yep. You can see Trojan with the excellent bomber plays this entire game.
Yeah.
Every single time there's a key asset on a point that needs to be removed, Trojan already has bombers in the area ready to strike. And this is why I say
fleet
that
style is fascinating.
Trojan's half carrier fleet is legitimately terrifying to play against because they genuinely have so much experience with it that it's very difficult to get purchase against it. C point finally going to OSP here as Misk does manage to get a liner onto the cap, although it is, let's be honest, way too late for it to really matter.
Yeah, 900 points on the scoreboard here. A-cap still in the hands of ANS.
All ANS needs to do is hold
command
a
strike
singular
attempted
cap
on the... Oh, never mind. The command jammer went on cooldown. That's why those swung around. I was wondering about that.
All ANS has to do now is hold a singular cap point, and they can win this, which is totally within their ability to do, considering their whole advantage. Misk is already flanking a ship to Boxer, desperately trying to retake points, although they flank their liner directly into one of ANS's still living beamstones. That is a very close range beam into the core of a liner. That thing is going to get gutted. Although Battle Short not on. Ambient does not flick on Battle Short, allowing the liner to get
that's going to punish them here as the guns open up. Beam, no damage control teams left on this is going to see the beam sniped out.
Yep. Perhaps only a rapid. No, that's a small. Wow, the team's dying likely on flank in the engines. That is a Raider drive. That is what happened.
Raider drive will cook you if you leave that on.
Liner will be able to get past that beamstone, although OSP needed a push like this 5 minutes ago. It's going to be... Yeah.
Too little, too late, too strung out.
Once again, OSP's doing a pretty good job of repushing now, but it is way too late for them to affect the outcome of this game. Beamstone from A as Ambient commits onto Pyro there, as Beam's not doing a whole lot.
Beam goes a little wide, catching the aft section, takes out a thruster or two, but
nearly burns itself out there. That beam is unable to be B-shorted. It is very heavily damaged there. Pyro is just going to keep laying fire into these battleships here. Actually doing a pretty good job of disabling these BBs. One of them already mission killed.
The big problem
the other one
here is that
gutted, but
as we've seen before, ANS hulls, if they're not killed, these capitals, the battleships, and Axfords can Lego brick themselves back together. Hear that little building noise. Give them 5 minutes. They'll be back in the fight with orange turrets and such.
Not really. One of the BBs is already out of restores with no weapons left, and the other only has 2. Like these battleships...
To their credit, though, like these are still combat-capable vessels. For what it's worth. Well, one of them is... Actually, this thing is way more damaged than I remember it being. Whoops.
Yep, for what it's worth, OSP did a good job of disabling those BBs, but the loss of the monitor ball was genuinely...
Yep.
Monitor
ball committed far too early
as soon
and
as
needed
OSP
to wait.
committed that monitor ball, I have a feeling that was the deciding moment there. Vryn throwing away an entire close range, very powerful 3K fleet for no gains there, as they're going to lose Dagger for...
decap goes through, as was said. All right, that is going to be victory, going to Collapse the Electron. Maintenance Is A Birch gave them a good showing, but could not make it happen here in round 3. Miscommitment of that pentabrick we talked about before. Just that is your sort of like sucker punch angle that you want to pull off once you get those liners in position, threatening all the various rocks that beamstones hide under. Force the battleships to position their broadside to the monitor ball. Was committed far too early and pushed too quickly and was horribly punished by a beamstone heavy team.
Right. And without that close range frontline fleet holding the line while the rest of the frontline was in orbit trying to get flanks there, ANS was just able to capitalize off that, develop the entirety of the map without any contesting there. Able to step onto E with basically nothing stopping them. They were able to retake A after losing it briefly there. And even C, OSP struggled to maintain control of despite having so many liners on the point. The loss of the monitor
OSP
ball
backline was compromised there once the monitor ball went down. Battleship was free to rotate, and then you saw just how badly that was turned for the OSP.
The monitors probably just sensing blood in the water, seeing the BB at such close range, tried to commit onto it and just got eviscerated there. Unfortunate misplay from
couple good damage numbers on the board here from various ships.
It was a longer game, kind of. Trojan absolutely just... let's be
Trojan
real.
with
Trojan
8 bombers pulls 42,000 damage here.
Yep. And you can see how powerful this carrier half-cap fleet is when you know how to play it. Those bombers doing absolutely insane work this entire game, basically removing the entirety of OSP supporting ships.
Yep. Same time, Secret Mink with their Light Strike style fleet. I love both factions here bringing kind of the carrier checkbox, couple of fighter craft and bombers here and there, just enough to make sure you've got some Light Strike, able to do a bit of work around the board. We saw the strike forces for OSP not really able to get the best hits. They wanted to find those destroyers vulnerable whenever they could, but ANS's carrier half cap, they kept them honest the entire game with good SDM2 play.
Right.